guys, gals, and everything in between. I'm here today to review for you Clerks 3, which means rockin' the New Jersey Devil's jersey. Clerks 3 is the third film in, obviously, the Clerks trilogy. It is set in his View Askew universe, which was made famous by Clerks, Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob. And this really is the most sombering and humble of his films, honestly. Um, I loved this film. I loved it more than I can even praise. Kevin Smith tells a very emotional journey of people who really are trying to make the most out of their life. If you ever saw his famous speech that he gave about how his dad died screaming, well, obviously Kevin Smith had a heart attack. This really encapsulates that entire speech about we're all going to die screaming. So if we're going to die screaming, we may as well pack our life with as much stuff to say, I did everything I needed and set out to do. And that was beautiful. This film was beautiful. Um, it felt very much Kevin Smith, View Askew, but it had a genuine honesty. And Kevin Smith has always been kind of a huge inspiration for me. When I was in film school, I was picked on a lot by a lot of the teachers, especially, that were basically like, "You don't want to be this indie documentarian about," and then they'd mock me. Well, I always stood my ground on what I loved and what I didn't love, and Kevin Smith was one of those people. I was like, hey, there's people like me who are nerds who just want to tell cool stories and be fun and enjoy what we do. And so I gravitated towards Kevin Smith more as an aspiring filmmaker because he did it. He just did it. He said, "You know what? I'm going to make a movie and you should too." And that's really the moral of this story. So this one hit really close to home. Clerks 3 hits so close to home on a lot of stuff for me. I'll be transparent. I cried 3 separate times in this movie. It hit such a raw emotional level because this story was a beautiful and touching story just about finding yourself. Dante and Randall are really reassessing their friendship years later, which is kind of what these Clerks movies are. They're very autobiographical about Kevin Smith and just touching on Kevin Smith's infamous Widowmaker heart attack and all of these things that make it just such a raw and real time. And if you know Kevin Smith and you know about him in detail, then you really understand and appreciate this film more. If you don't know that much about Kevin Smith, this is just a genuine and great comedy that you probably will be like, I feel like I missed some context. In that case, go watch Clerks, because Clerks is one of the greatest movies ever made. So, yeah, Clerks 3, I loved it. There's so much I can praise about it. I'm not going to spoil anything. But if you're a fan of the View Askew universe, you're going to absolutely love this film. If you're not, go watch at least Clerks 1 and 2. It's still raunchy. It's still very, very funny. It's just that there's moments that you're going to experience where you're like, I feel like I'm missing something if you know nothing. But there are way more real and raw moments than I anticipated. There wasn't a dry eye in my screening. I saw it in Oklahoma City, and it was a mostly packed theater, and everybody was crying by the end of it just because of how real and raw and genuine. That's all I can keep saying about it. But Kevin Smith inspired me as a filmmaker my whole life, and this movie was a testament of love for his fans and his own work. And it's a little bit, I guess, for a lack of a better term, self-masturbatory in that term, but I guess masturbatory is, yeah, anyways, we don't need to get into that, but it is a Kevin Smith review, so, masturbation. But, yeah, it is very real, it's very raw, and I don't know, it's just, I love watching Kevin Smith movies. I love watching his movies on screen, and also, I also take great pride in the fact that I had a teacher in script writing class back in college that said I was and this is pre-ruining Star Wars. I was J.J. Abrams meets Kevin Smith, and that's my style. And I've always taken that as one of the highest compliments ever. Um, and yeah, I love this movie. I loved how raw it was. This is probably my favorite movie of the year. Um, Kevin Smith knocked it out of the park, and I just kept telling myself, I don't see how lightning can strike 3 times in the same place for a movie that never technically warranted a sequel, but it got two, and it got its spin-offs in its universe with Mallrats and all of that, and it did it, and it did it well, and I am so happy I saw it and experienced it. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. If you've liked any of Kevin Smith's movies, you absolutely should see it. This movie is, bar none, a future classic. All right, guys, gals, and everything between. Did you like Clerks 3 as much as I did? Again, this is probably in the running for favorite movie of the year, if not my favorite movie of the year. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I got plenty more videos coming to ya. Love you guys. Yeah, I love this movie. I'm gonna go see it again.